Well, hi, everybody. My name is Chris Barton.
And I'm Jennifer Ziegler.
And we both write books for young people. And we talk with our friends who write books for young people about the dedications in their book. That's what this one's dedicated to is all about. And today we're talking with Gordon Korman about his new book, Unplugged. How are you doing, Gordon?
Doing great. Thanks for having me.
We're glad to have you with us. We're hoping you would start by reading to us your dedication to Unplugged so everybody can hear that in your voice.
Absolutely. So the dedication for Unplugged is for Alessandra, Queen of the Wellness Retreat.
Wow. Can you explain to us a little more about Alessandra and why you chose to dedicate the book to her?
Sure. Well, Alessandra is Alessandra Balzer, my editor at Balzer Bray, HarperCollins. And we've been working together for, I think, in the neighborhood of 20 years now. And a number of times, almost every year, she always talks about this wellness retreat that she goes on with, I think, her mom and sister. But, you know, she would always describe it, and it's super crunchy, kind of healthy, right? You know, just the food is super healthy and it's all vegetarian and all the, you know, it's very spa oriented, but it's also like really physical exercise based. And, you know, as she describes it, I just kept thinking, you know, a kid would just hate this. You know, if you were in middle school and you got brought on one of these wellness retreats, you would just be absolutely miserable. It would feel like sort of exile/torture. So the idea sort of popped into my head that, you know, what if some kid was sort of sentenced to an entire summer of, you know, admittedly an extreme, maybe a little bit less luxe and cushy version of what my editor always went on with her family every year. And then I sort of thought to myself, like, who would be the worst kid in the world to be sent on this sort of wellness retreat? Wow. And I thought about, you know, like a real Silicon Valley spoiled brat. You know, almost like, what if your dad invented Google and you got sent to this kind of wellness retreat, which on top of all the sort of earthy, crunchy health stuff, it is completely unplugged, right? Like no tech, no phones, no computers. They don't even have TVs, no screens at all. And that was sort of the basic what if behind Unplugged and the dedication.
Well, at what point in making the book did you know you were going to dedicate it to Alessandra?
I think I'd written the whole book first. You know, I've written over 90 books over the years. So I sort of don't plan them in terms of who they're going to be dedicated to. But in a relatively few cases, considering the number of books I've written, there's someone who is specifically inspired or helped me with that book. And so when I have a chance like that, I always choose that person for the dedication.
So you have written, as you said, over 90 wow, over 90 books. And you have spoken to thousands and upon thousands of readers and done a lot of interviews. Do people normally ask you about dedications?
Do they ever ask?
They do sometimes, but it's not one of the main. Yeah, I mean, you know what the main questions are that kids always ask, right? It's just sort of, where do you get your ideas? How much money do you make? And if you don't answer that, what kind of car do you drive?
Right.
It's not one of those questions that comes up absolutely everywhere, you know, but it certainly does. You know, how do you choose who you dedicate books to? And you know, for me, again, I don't know how you guys choose your. I don't even know, is there a word, dedicatees, or but it's, you know, first priority goes to if someone specifically helped you or inspired, you know, a character or a theme in that book, and then obviously you go through family members and friends and that kind of thing. Like I one thing that's very lucky for me, I've written a lot of trilogies. and I have 3 kids. So whenever I have a trilogy, it's just, 3 kids, 3 books. It's easy peasy.
Well, is there anything more about the dedication in Unplugged you want us to know about, or anything more about Alessandra?
Well, I think it's just such a great collaboration with me and Alessandra over the years. I'd been writing for a while before I started working with her, but I think that she has been behind so many of the books of mine that have sort of reached a really, really large audience. And we all hope as writers that everything we write is just automatically going to blow through the roof and become incredibly famous. But a lot of the books that Alessandra and I have collaborated on have been the ones that have, books like Ungifted and Schooled and Son of the Mob and The Unteachables, Notorious. Like these are just books that I never could have written. I never could have written without her. So I do think of it more as we've collaborated on them than I wrote a book and she changed hard to difficult and made sure all the commas were in the right place. I mean, that relationship with an editor is so kind of basic to what we do that it is definitely one of the more spot on dedications of my career.